Oh, hello, hello, Studio One Way community. Thanks for clicking in. I'm here with Kim Sowinski. Did I say it right?
You did.
Awesome, yay for me.
Yeah.
I usually like put it in my head beforehand, and then I just realized I didn't rehearse your last
It's
name.
fine.
Because
It's totally fine.
you're known far and wide around the Independence, Brecksville area as Kim.
Yeah, like Kim Scott.
Kim.
Yeah, Kim Scott was my
Kim
air
Scott.
name on
Yeah.
radio and TV, so that's a little bit easier than Sowinski. But now I think I've been out of it long enough that people know both. So
Well, people will just say
Oh,
to me,
good.
don't you know that yoga teacher Kim? I'm like, yes, because she's amazing. So I'm here with Kim, and we are talking about yoga hike for research. And we're talking about the research, and we're talking about inspiration, and we're talking about the practices, and we're talking about taking care of our health and well-being and our migraines and our happiness. And we're just talking so much that we had to capture it for you. So we're sharing this today. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're going to be involved this year for Yoga for Research.
I'm so excited.
I am too. I mean, I love the energy that you bring to anything you do because I've told you since I first met you how authentic you are, and I love that about you. Your intent is always pure, and
you're so sweet.
It's true though.
We're practicing, right?
We're
We've been
practicing.
practicing a long time. How long have you been practicing?
Yeah, so probably about 13 years. I come from a fitness background. So I started with the Yoga Fit program because that kind of marries both of them, and that was dipping my toe in it. And then it connected with me so much, like, why haven't I been doing this for the past 40 years? And so I got into it a little later than most people, but it was the right time, you know, as far as child raising and family and working and all the other things. But then realizing that that should have been part of that all along, because that's the foundation that balances your life when everything just seems out of whack.
Yeah, that foundation piece was really interesting because you mentioned a few moments ago before we clicked on kind of how you couch that and how you put perspective to that for people. Could you share that?
Yeah, I just feel like anything that you do, whether you run, you go to CrossFit, you go to fitness classes, it's such a compliment to anything you do, or if you do nothing, because just finding your breath, the pranayama, and forget all the Sanskrit, because I think a lot of people are afraid of yoga because of the origins of it. But if you think about a 5,000-year-old practice that has sustained over the years. And even in my training, learning the 8 limbs of yoga and how it paralleled the 10 commandments, it's a blueprint on how to live our lives. And I think that that balance we all crave. We don't know it sometimes,
100%,
but we crave it. And we're talking, yoga meaning to yoke together body, mind, and heart. It's great for mental health, which we kind of focused on in May, but physical and also emotional and spiritual. So,
it's so important. So missing and lost.
It is missing and lost.
And I do think there is like a relationship repair that sometimes needs to happen through our lives, where it's like whatever we were given in our culture as our support system, it was great, and then we got hit by the life stick, and it wasn't, and we're like looking for that relationship repair. So sometimes something from a different culture or a different languaging or a different activity becomes like an easier, more accessible way in.
It sure is, and it gives us so many ways to do it. And I studied Ayurveda, that part, which is a sister science to yoga, and basically it's just living your life in harmony with nature. So Ayurveda was created through observing nature. So we talked about walking in the woods, how medicinal it is.
Yeah.
If you have a migraine, I remember grieving my father when he passed.
Oh, wow.
Just going and walking, I'm sorry, crying again.
Yeah.
But just bawling, but feeling surrounded by the trees and the vegetation and how you're canopied, because he passed away in the spring, and I don't know, it's so healing, but physically it is as well, and they've quantified it. So there's chemicals given off that we take in that lower our stress hormones. The cortisol lowers heart rate, lowers blood pressure, gives us a sense of well-being, increases cognitive function. We can be creative, we can solve problems, we can just be quiet.
All as a result of time in nature.
Exactly. And so, practicing outside whenever, and I see you're doing that in Independence now on the square. I love that because I do yoga hikes on a regular basis outdoors. And just like this event that we're actually going to do a practice indoors in the lodge, which is beautiful at the Richfield Heritage Preserve. But to
tell
go
me
from
the
height back to-
official name.
Okay, yoga and height for research.
Yoga and Hike for Research, and you can find that on a Facebook event. You can Google it because it pops up in Windows with Eventbrite and everything. There are
Right.
tickets available, and this is the event that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's held at the,
Richfield Heritage Preserve Lodge.
okay, do you guys
Gorgeous.
know where that is? It's on Broadview Road.
Mhm.
There's an old Girl Scout camp, wasn't
It
it?
used to be Crowell Halakha, and it's right next to Giant Eagle on Broadview Road, so that's the main entrance. And some people think, oh, am I in the right spot? Because it's almost a mile back, not quite, but almost a mile back, but it's beautiful. As you come off Broadview, you just feel yourself just calming down, just coming back in the woods, and the parking lot's on the left, and you see this beautiful kind of a log lodge, which used to be the mess hall for the Girl Scouts. They totally remodeled it. It's air conditioned, so no matter what the weather, we're gonna be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
beautiful.
July 9th.
No, they have weddings. It's a really lovely venue, but
It
yeah, it's where the Girl Scout was, and that very, that original, since the dawn of time,
Yeah.
grocery store, Giant Eagle.
Yeah,
That's the area in Richfield back there, so you'll know when you drive back. It just takes a minute to get there. Keep driving.
so that part of Giant Eagle, just by the way, because I love history, used to be an apple cider press. Because the whole over 300 acres of the Richfield Heritage Preserve used to be a fruit farm. So they did apples and peaches back when the Oviatt family owned it. So Oviatt Road, which is across from
Right.
St. Bernard's, that's another entrance, but we're not coming in that way. Their house, the original house is there, which they're renovating. And then the Neal family owned it. And then Jim Kirby, that had the Kirby vacuum, he kind of he was a big inventor, and he did the agitation of washing machine.
Clothes washers.
Yes, so that was
Wow.
Kirby. So that was their summer home. There's homes that are still on the property. They're beautiful Tudor style slate roofs, copper, gutters and things like that. So they're renovating all that. The village of Richfield and the township came together and bought it from the Girl Scouts.
Wow.
Yeah, so and it's great. So all the classes I teach out there, I donate back. So they keep improving the trails, the shelters. And just
so good
oh,
this is
you
so good.
hear my
Yeah.
my chime, sorry about
It's
that.
okay, it's real life.
Yeah, I
It's real
know.
life.
I should have put that on quiet, but anyway, okay.
Yeah, so I'm fascinated by this, and I wanna know if on the hike, we're gonna see any of those houses. Will we go by
We will.
those?
So we'll see the North House,
Uh-huh.
something called the Amity House, and there's 2 lakes. So there's an upper lake and a lower lake, and we'll see both.
Awesome.
Yeah, and there's an old dance hall that the floor, back in the day, they liked to bounce when they danced. So the floor is made out of springs from trolley cars in Cleveland.
Really?
So it's called Garfield Hall, and we'll go past that as well. And the other notable thing about the trails, the Buckeye Trail goes through there. So you'll see the blue blazes on trees and signs. And there's also a bridle trail, so you can take a horse there and actually trot through there.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is so exciting because we're gonna be doing yoga, but that's like inside and it's gonna be wonderful.
But you'll see nature all around you.
Yeah, it's really, the lodge is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring the singing bowls, so the
wait for that.
Boston will be like special. And then we're gonna go on a hike. And did you
Yeah.
say box lunches and everything?
Yes, so a grab and go box lunch, or you can stay there if you don't want to hike and just eat there. I'm gonna do some Ayurveda bakery, so gluten-free and using some of the spices in Ayurveda like cardamom and ginger and sesame seeds and things like that. So it'll be
a lot. And
yeah,
so we
yeah.
need to touch on the why. Why are you doing all this?
Yeah, so for the Research Institute for Children's Health, and it was created as a nonprofit in 2015. My dear friend, Dr. Mitch Drum is the head geneticist at Case Medical School, Case Western Reserve University Medical School. And he was part of the team that isolated the cystic fibrosis gene back in the mid to late 80s. So they took that model of sequencing, and things that used to take years are taking weeks now. So basically this nonprofit, anything that's funded, every single dollar goes to research. If you give $5, they'll buy a test tube. They'll, put things into practice right away. So no administrative costs are incurred. So all the research dollars go right to research. And they're making so much progress. But in the past few years, they've calculated that every dollar they're raising is matched by $10 in grants.
Wow.
So that makes it everything even further. So these orphan diseases, genetic diseases, mostly for children, that's why they, Research Institute for Children's Health. And Mitch just has such a soft spot in his heart for kids. He was actually my kids' CYO track coach. So a lot of people know Dr. Drum, Mitch Drum.
He's like doing all this, and then he's coaching kids. He's coming to all the fundraisers. I understand he'll be there to talk.
He'll be there and he'll give us an update. The other thing I love about what they're doing with the Research Institute, they are cultivating the young scientists to come up through the ranks. He is somebody who wants to share the knowledge and keep it going long after we're all gone. And part of the research money goes to these internships of these young scientists that are so enthusiastic. And some of them actually, I know one of them had one of the diseases that he was treating, and they found how she can have a basically manageable life with what the disease that she had. But these orphan diseases, the pharmaceutical companies don't make enough money from the drug therapies.
Right, the incident rate is too low, so it doesn't pay to have the medications because
exactly.
They don't want to do that kind of research. It's not going to give them their business return.
But they'll find drugs that are out there and they'll repurpose them. They'll say, oh, this fungal drug that's already FDA approved for this also works for this. Without having to reinvent the wheel. So they're very efficient at their research, and I love that.
Of course.
It's affecting a lot of people.
But he's like looking for, he's got a niche, and he's looking for those like things that are falling off the sides.
That's right.
To really help.
That slip through the cracks.
Right.
Families are desperate because they don't have a JDRF, or they don't have the lung association behind them for different diseases. But even with cystic fibrosis, people are living so much longer, and their quality of life is so much better because of all these therapies.
Yeah. How many years have you been doing fundraising and support for him from the very beginning?
Since 2015, yes. And he just asked me as a friend. We're both from Tuscarawas County. I'm from Dover. He's from New Philly, kind of like Independence, Brecksville.
100%.
He had called me and my husband to meet another friend of his who owns a construction company in Tuscarawas County, Tucson, excavating, and he also has a winery in Sonoma, California. And he's helped to fund a lot. And we just had a little gathering, and he said, I would just love you to help get the word out. Just help get the word out. So that's kind of my mission. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. And when you're thinking about how to fundraise, I like to meet people where they are or where I'm already. So I teach yoga. Why not do, a fundraiser, because we do donation based all the time anyway. The philosophy is yoga, service to others without expecting anything back. How perfect is that? I don't see, what's going on, although he does give updates, but I'm confident that any money I raise is going to go right to helping somebody.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you see over time the progress.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That's so rewarding.
Or just knowing he was able to hire 3 more interns. To again accelerate the process and to teach these kids, so then they're ready to go and more creative thinking and critical thinking.
And it's educational based research rather than commercially driven research, which is just really exactly what needs to be happening.
Yeah, and just being at the Case Medical School is huge because it gives them a great platform.
100%.
And it gives them resources, and they have machinery, diagnostic stuff nobody has.
Okay, your inspiration. I want to know where you get your inspiration, because you have so much energy and you have so much just
for an old girl, right?
well-focused offerings for people. How come so many people are asking me if I know you? It's like, that's the coolest
thing. Really?
Yeah, they're inspired by you.
Well, and you. I mean, I feel like we all embrace all that's good.
It takes a lot of us to move everything forward.
It does.
And I picture it. I used to teach preschool special ed, so I had kids with varying abilities, and capacities around the parachute, and we'd have to it takes everyone around the parachute
to make it happen.
One of the friends decides he's just gonna stomp his feet and cry. We're in trouble. Everyone's gotta do their little part. No one can do the parachute alone. So it's
true.
So nice. Just to know that when there are other yoga teachers out there, holding the space and doing great work.
And I think just being outside in nature, can inspire anybody. I get inspired. Like the other day, I went to Mass at St. Basil, daily Mass, and we have a new priest, Father Jeffrey Liptak, who's from the Independence. Went to St. Michael's, went to Independence High School. I think he was homecoming king. Great football player. Found his calling, just became a priest not that long ago, and he had this homily was amazing. It was about perfection. So the reading in the gospel was about how God calls us to be perfect like him. And we're like, there's no way we can be perfect, because in our minds being perfect is that being perfect. And he said, actually, the Greek translation is perfection means wholeness and completeness. And we have to think in our minds, what keeps us, what are the obstacles to keep us feeling whole and being complete? And when you think of it in that term, you know, you think about your yoga practice. Do I look like a perfect warrior too? Can I do a handstand perfectly? Whatever. So I used that in my class yesterday about the real meaning of perfection was completeness and wholeness. Feel complete in whatever pose you're holding or the breath that you're trying to have, whether it's evenness of breath or whatever you're utilizing to enhance your practice, because it all works together. And then at the end of practice, I played Lovely Day by Bill Withers, because it was like, every day is a lovely day and it's perfection. You know, and those days, I mean, we've had a lot of them this spring and now, you know, summer, where it's like a perfect evening. Sit out, you are so compelled to stay outside until it gets dark. And I think that's beautiful. That's perfection. You feel complete. You feel that wholeness. You feel like you don't want anything, which is again one of the teachings of yoga, is not to desire always everything else. Be grateful, practice gratitude. It all works together.
It all works together.
And it gives you peace.
And it comes through the practice.
Yeah.
Like when you just come to the experience and you just move yourself through the experience in any perfectly imperfect way, you end up with this sense of satisfaction. I know one of my definitions of success, and I have it on a paper in my like personal space of Tracy, is success is my personal satisfaction.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not measured by anybody else. It's not measured by things or numbers. It's just, do I feel whole? Right? Do I feel, and can I be in that wholeness in a relationship with myself that allows me to be presentable?
And that's your perfection.
Yeah,
That's Tracy
my
perfection.
and divine divinity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for that, aren't we?
Always. And honestly, if you don't, you will never feel at peace.
Yeah.
And I think that's where so many people have so much anxiety, you know, these days. Not to say that we live without it, because you do, but you recognize it and then you let it go. If you can do something about it, you do it. Exactly, exactly. But we, as a society, would be so much kinder, calmer, productive. If we, creative. If we just were seeking that balance and seeking that wellness, that the tools are there. You know, to me, it's like grace. It's there. We just need to be willing to accept it. You know, that invitation's out there all the time. Sometimes it hits us up the side of the head. You know, different things happen, and if you pay attention, again, that's being mindful with your life. You figure it out.
Yeah. And then there are beautiful cooperatives from this place of wholeness, which is what I think I am looking forward to so much about this event. It's just the cooperative nature and the science coming to the practices, to the nature, to the two of us
and the community
enjoying, and all the community. Yeah. So we're hoping you guys will join us. We hope that you're inspired to consider coming out July 9th.
July 9th is a Sunday morning at 10
a.m.
Right.
10 a.m. to noon. 10 a.m. to noon, and you know, your yoga, your hike, your box lunch that you can picnic or grab
and hang out there, you know, for longer if you want, because the trails are always open. Or go back to something that you found fascinating. You know, because just looking at something.
Go back and bounce on the floor and
the Garfield Hall
in the dance center. That's it. I want to feel that. That's outrageous.
It is. There's some great stories. So as I guide the hike, I know a little bit of the history there, and I'll let you know about different points during the hike that have a story. A lot of stories in there.
A lot of stories.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, my favorite. You know, I'll be there. Also, I want to point out for folks where they can find you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm in Brecksville during the week on Mondays and Wednesdays for fitness classes from 7 to 8. On the weekends, I have been in the Richfield Heritage Preserve for yoga hikes, so it's a traveling yoga class.
Do you Facebook or you website? I can't remember where.
Both. So cravenaturecleveland.com, cravenaturecleveland.com. I'm on Facebook. So it's usually you can find it, and on my website is my number. So if you're not sure, where to look on the calendar, I'm happy to
Take a text.
take a text. Yeah, absolutely, anytime. But we welcome people, no matter what. It's all levels. It doesn't even matter. People bring boyfriends, friends that are in town, for summer.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I'm at the Civic Center for yoga on Tuesdays, and then the underneath Creekside Restaurant. So there is a chiropractor underneath there, and there's a beautiful room that I just sublet once a week. It's just a very small boutique, but there the whole wall is windows, so you look out over Chippewa Creek and you can see the seasons change, and you can see the
That's
birds
really
and the
beautiful down there.
chipmunks chasing each other,
Yeah.
and then of course your studio here is amazing, and it's just great. Independence is very lucky to have you here.
Well, thank you.
They are. They
I feel
really
like-
are.
I feel like there are some really powerful light workers, teachers and leaders.
Yeah.
And I've been very blessed to find you and to find
same.
a number
Thank
of
you.
others that have really lifted me.
Yeah.
Because you can't just plop down with a message and feel satisfied.
Right.
If you're not surrounded by others, and not surrounded by others as in saying like, listen to me, follow me kind of thing, but like, come on, you guys,
We work immensely.
we're all in
I
here,
know.
like we're journeying on together.
Right.
And I, did the solstice. It was a Kundalini class this morning on the grass, and I said there were a couple people that were challenged by the length of one of the meditations. I mean, it was the solstice, so it was like a special practice, and we kind of went to our edge with a couple things. And I just had to remind folks, like, when you practice in a group, the person with the highest frequency lifts everybody. Everybody in the group rises to that frequency. And it's not always me. It's not like, and thank goodness,
Right.
because that's too heavy a burden to bear. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
we also
yeah.
like
Yeah.
teaching with you, practicing with you, you lift me. And, the folks that are in our community, when you guys show up, you lift us. And
Absolutely.
and we're here to travel.
I get
along
more.
together.
I get more
Do you see?
from
Yes.
other people than I,
Feel like
give.
you give.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
10 times back.
Yeah.
10 times back.
Yeah.
So that's
It's a
the
joy.
beauty, and that's why I love doing it too. I mean, and my prayer is just I can continue, as I age, and I think what you do is you just shift, as we all should, as we age.
Absolutely.
And that's the beauty of our path.
Yeah.
It really is, and that's what nature shows us too. When you go in the woods, you see some new saplings growing, and then you see some really, strong trunks that could withstand any storm, and then you see some that are kind of bent over this way, ready to fall.
Yeah.
And then you see some that have been on the ground for a long time. That's life.
Yeah.
That's life. People that have gone before us.
And there's beauty in every single stage.
Every single stage. And how life regenerates.
Yeah.
So a good teacher, just being out there. But thank you for this
I
opportunity.
mean, you guys, aren't you glad Kim stopped by?
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I look forward to co-teaching with you on July 9th.
Have so much fun.
Yes,
July 9th. We're gonna have a raffle basket. I know you're gonna have like a lot of exciting things that we didn't unpack right here. But
Right,
like, I think you got a good.
But just show up. If
Yeah,
nothing
show
else,
up.
it's great to meet other people, and you'll be, how crazy it is that you'll know somebody that you didn't know, or somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, because that happens so much. And just to be able to practice together for this wonderful cause of the Research Institute for Children's Health, and continue that work, again, giving without expecting anything back, but you do get back.
Yeah,
You do.
100%,
Yeah, it's just
100%.
the expectation.
It will be a lift. It will be a beautiful, joyful, happy lift of spirits. You guys, thank you. Click like, comment, share, do those things for us so that we keep bringing you great conversations and just, supporting community here in Independence and Brecksville and Ridgefield and all the good places.
Yeah, we're lucky. We've got so many great spots around us
So many great spots.
within, minutes.
I know.
So,
Okay,
thank you.
namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.